Hi friends, my name is Harpreet Singh Walia. I'm having more than 20 years of experience in information technology. I'm also SnowPro Core certified. This is a lab series of Snowflake. By following this series, you will be able to work on Snowflake and will be able to perform data ingestion and analytics over the structured and semi-structured data. Let me give you a high level overview of what is covered. This series will cover a basic introduction to the user interface and basic capabilities using the free 30 days trial. You will be able to do hands on everything covered in this series. Audience for this lab series are database and data warehouse administrators, developers, and architects. Following will be covered in this series: creating database, tables, warehouse, and views, loading structured and semi structured data, query, joins, cloning objects, time travel, data sharing, and security. Prerequisites are the following: you can use your existing Snowflake account or sign up for the 30 days trial account. You need to have a basic knowledge of database concepts, objects, and SQL. You should be having a knowledge of semi structured data with the CSV and JSON format. In this tutorial, we will set up a lab environment using a Snowflake free 30 days trial account. For that, we will have to create an account. We will activate that account and then we will log into this account and we'll use some scripts which are available for the download. In order to create an account, so we'll have to go to the trial.snowflake.com. So you will get this form. You have to populate this form. So you need to put your first name followed by last name. Then you have to put your company's email. So it's not necessary that you have to put your company's email. You can put your personal email also. Then you have to populate your company name. If you're not comfortable putting your company's name, you can put something like student or anything else. Then you select what role you are playing currently and the country. After that, just click continue. So in this form, so you will be given three editions you have to select. So you may go for standard or enterprise. So I am selecting enterprise for now. And then you have to choose your cloud provider. There are three cloud providers which are available. So here I am selecting Microsoft Azure. So after you select Microsoft Azure, you will have to populate the regions field. So on which region you want to have this running, and you need to select the region which is closest to your place. So after populating these forms, so you just click the get started, and then you will get some forms for the feedback. So you may populate these forms and continue, or you can skip these forms. So from this email, just click to activate. Once you click that link, so you will be asked to create one user and the password. So this will be the username which you will use for the login. So click on get started. Now your account is created with the username. So you should be able to log in now. Use the link for accessing your account which is provided in the email. Just enter your username and password and click sign in. And you are good to go now. So you are now inside the Snowflake account. So this completes your creation of login account, and now you have to download script which has been used in this lab, and from the description URL is provided, so you can use that URL and you can download that script. So in this module, we will log into the newly created Snowflake account. We will discuss all the major UI components such as database, warehouse, worksheets, history, user roles, shares, and a brief overview of our lab project. So when you log in for the first time, you will get this welcome screen. And using this welcome screen, you can explore some tutorials with the sample data, and you will also get some examples of loading data into the Snowflake. You can skip this for now and you can click on worksheets. So worksheets provide a powerful and a versatile method of running SQL queries or Python code, as well as performing other Snowflake data loading, definition, and manipulation tasks. You can write your SQL code in this worksheet and you can save these scripts, and these scripts will be available anytime you need, and you can organize your all the code in different worksheets. So whenever you open a worksheet, so you have a drop down from which you can select which database to use for this worksheet. On left hand side top next to the share, you can see that we can select role and a warehouse. So you can select which role you want to use for this worksheet, and you can select a data warehouse. Currently you can see there is no data warehouse available because we have not yet created any data warehouse. So we will create data warehouse going forward, and then you will be able to see the data warehouse coming up here. Next to the worksheet, you can see databases. So when you click on the databases, it will show you all the databases which are available in your account. Here you can see there are two default databases which comes with the new account. One is with the name Snowflake and another one is with the name Snowflake sample data. You can see that there are different schemas available, and under every schema you will find multiple tables. Like in this example, you can see there is a customer table and you can see the definition of this table. You can write your SQL statement in this worksheet. At this point, you will not be able to run any query to fetch data because right now there is no data warehouse created. You can save this sheet and you can also put a name on this worksheet. Like I'm putting that this is my first script, and you can see in the worksheets, I can see my script. So when you will have multiple sheets, so you will get all the list here and they will be saved. On the top left side where you see your name, you will see that the default role is selected, which is a public role. So you can switch this role and you can select any of the role which is available in the list. And you can also make any role as a default so that every time you don't have to switch to that role when you are working on a worksheet. Let's go to the data menu item. Under data menu item, you will see the database, and you will see all the list of available databases. From here, you can create your new database. Then below the database, you can see private sharing. You can see here that there are three tabs: shared with you, shared by your account, and reader accounts. Shared with you will show all the shares which have been shared to you from external accounts. So in this one, you can see there is one sample database and one account usage database which has been shared to you when you have created your new account. Shared by your account will show all the shares which you have shared with external parties. Right now, there is no share which you have shared, so it's showing blank. Reader accounts will help you to share data with those customers who do not have Snowflake accounts. So now here we will move to the admin, and under admin you can see cost management. So when you will start using your warehouse, so you will be able to see your consumption and your spending on the warehouse. Below this is the warehouse. So here you will see the list of all the warehouses which you have created, and you can create different or multiple warehouses with different sizes and types, and different type will be created for different kind of jobs. So here is the list. You will see all the warehouses which you have created. So in order to create a new warehouse, so you click on the warehouse, you give the name of the warehouse, you select the type and the size. You can see there is a list of different sizes, and you can see how much would be the consumption in terms of credits per hour. And based upon your load and requirements, you can select any kind of warehouse size. So when you open advanced options, so you will see there are some settings which are, you can see some default have been set, like auto resume. Whenever any request goes to the warehouse, so it starts automatically, and auto suspend is also there. Like when you have no activity going on in the warehouse, so it can shut down. So at this point, I'm not creating any warehouse. So I'll just move to the next one, next item, which is users and roles. So you will be able to see what all users have been created in your account. So you can create multiple users and you can provide different roles to them, and accordingly they will be able to work on Snowflake. You can click edit and you can edit information in the user profile. You can even allot a default data warehouse to them and a default role to the user, and a default database and a schema. So whenever they will log in, so these defaults will be available for them. Now let's go to the activity, and under activity you will see query history. So this will show you the history of all the SQLs which you have fired so far, and as well as the internal SQLs which were fired by Snowflake. You can also apply filters, and this in this way you will be able to search any specific query which you are looking for. For example, you can put tags on your SQL, and using tag filter you will be able to get your query from this history list. So now you are familiar with the basic components of this UI. So let's create our first data warehouse. So we'll go to the admin and warehouses, and we'll create a new warehouse. So we'll give it a name as a compute WHSM. It's like a compute warehouse small type. You can see as soon as we create this warehouse, it starts and it is shown under the list of warehouses. From the edit, you can change any default value if you want. So when your data warehouse is not in use, so you can suspend this warehouse. So next time, whenever any request comes, so it will start automatically. Let me brief you what all we will cover in the lab project. We will take data of City Bike New York, which is a trip data in a CSV format, and we'll take the data of weather, which is in a JSON format and it's a semi-structured data. So we'll import these two data into our databases and we will perform some analytics. And using these analytics, we will understand how we can serve riders in a best way. In this module, we have to import CSV file from external source. We will create database, schema and table. We will also create a staging table which will be linked to the external source. We will create a file format and then we will load this data, and we will use different warehouses with different configurations to see how much impact it puts on the processing if we use a different types. So let's start. Before we start, let me show you this CSV file which we will be loading into the Snowflake. So this file we will take from Amazon. This is available publicly. You can download these files and you can also explore these files, sample files. Let me show you the CSV format of this file. So in the CSV format, you can see all the data is available, and this is the data which we will be loading in next steps. So first step is to create a database schema and the table. As a first step, we'll create a database. So we'll keep a name city bike. You can see that the database is created now. If you want, you can create a new schema for this, but I will be using the public schema. So I'll go inside the public schema and create a table. You can put a table definition here to create this table, but I have a script ready with me, so I'll be using that script and I'll use a worksheet for that. I'll create a new worksheet. I'll select the database, city bike, and public schema. I'll paste the DDL for this table creation. So when we run this command, you can see table has been created. Now just put the name of this script. So we'll put worksheet module 3. So as a next step, we'll create a stage. So from the create button, we'll select stage and then Amazon S3. We'll give a stage name as city bike trips. We'll put the URL where all the files of trip data of CSV is present. You can also click SQL preview and it will show the SQL DDL command for this. Let's click the create button. And you can see now stage is created. Let's run this command to see what all files are there in this stage. We'll use the list command for this. You can see from the result that there are multiple files present, and these will be loaded to our Snowflake database. And this command also confirms that now we have a connectivity with the external Amazon S3 bucket. Now we will create a CSV file format. We will click the create button and select the file format menu item. So let's paste the DDL command for this and let's run. So now our CSV format is ready. So we'll use this in our next step. Let's go back to our script. Now in this command, we will be copying stage data to our Snowflake table. That is the trips info table. So for that, we'll run the copy command. So copy into our table from the staging, and we'll use the file format as CSV that we have created before this. So after running this command, you can see now the data has been processed, and this is showing the list of all the files which have been loaded into the table. And in the query duration, you can see it took around 17 minutes 21 seconds to process. This is because I am using the smallest warehouse, and it could be that my region is far away from where this data is present. You can also see other stats which system is showing, like how many files have been failed, how many have been processed, how many have been loaded. You can go through these stats, and if there are some errors, so for this lab you can just ignore them for now. So we wanted to make sure that we have some data loaded into our tables. Let's check how many rows are present in our trip info table. So we'll run select count star on that table. Now what we'll do is we'll truncate this table and we'll reload this data again into this table. So for that we'll use a different size of cluster. So we will increase the size of the cluster and we'll see how much processing time it takes. Now this table is empty, so it's truncated. So we'll go to the warehouse and we'll change the size of the warehouse. So we'll select the large and we'll save, and cluster will again start with the large size. Now again run this command, again reload, and now you can see that it took very less time. So it took around 2 minutes to load. Let's check the total records in the table. So these records are same as we saw in the previous load with the small warehouse. So now we'll bring back the warehouse to the small size. Now we'll go to the query history and see what all commands we have run. And here also you can see the 2 commands which we have run, and it is showing the total duration and other stats. So you can use this to explore your all the queries which you have run. In this module, we will run query, we will do some analytics, we will see result cache in action, and we will clone the table. Let's run some analytics. First, we will create a new worksheet with the name worksheet module 4. Then select the database name and the schema. Let's do the select star from the table to see all the records we have in this table. So now we will run this analytical query to see result hour wise for number of trips, average duration and average distance traveled. As you can see that this query took around 4 seconds to run. Now we will see result cache in action. So when we run this query again, you can see that now this result set came very quickly. So it just came in 36 milliseconds. This is because this result is now coming from the result cache and it is not processed by the data warehouse because the query is same and the result set is already available in the cache. Now run another query which will show date of week wise total number of trips. So when we go back to query history, we can see that these two queries which we executed are showing that for the first query, it used data warehouse to compute result set. And for the second time, it just took result from the result cache. So it didn't use any data warehouse computation. And you can also see that for the next query which we executed, the day of week wise, for that it used data warehouse again. Now let's see how to clone any table. So for cloning we will use create table DDL and the name of the new table and that one which we need to clone. So this will be a zero copy clone. So for the trip info dev table, there will be no additional space which will be used for storing the data. So it would be the same space, and whenever there will be any change or updates happening to the trip info dev table, only the delta will be saved. So this way we save a lot of space when we do a cloning, and it's very fast. In this module, we will load semi-structured data. So for the same, we'll first create a database, then the staging, then we'll load this data and we'll perform a join operation with our existing city bike data. Let's create a new worksheet with the name worksheet module 5. Now we'll create a database using a DDL command. After database is created, we will use command to use warehouse compute WHSM. Then we'll use command to use weather database and use public schema of weather database. Let's now create a table JSON weather data with only one column. Now we will create a stage for this semi-structured data. Let's check this stage by listing all the files available in this stage. Now let's load and verify this data. We'll use copy command to load this data on our JSON weather data table. Now you can see that we have JSON data in our table. Now we'll perform the join operation. Now we will create a view on our table so that we can show this data in a proper format, and we'll select one city for this, which will be the New York City. Now this view is created. Let's run this view and see the data. It is showing all data in their respective columns. Now let's join this data with trip info in the city bike database. In this query, what we want to see is that in different conditions, how many number of trips were made. You can see that from the result set, when it was smoke condition, the trips were very less, and when the weather was clear, then there were maximum trips. Now let me show you JSON data, how it looks in the record. So you can click any record, and on right hand side you can see this data is coming. Now you can see that how data is stored as a value. In this module, we will cover time travel, and time travel allows us to access historical data at any point of time. This is a pre-configurable period of time which we can configure. Default is 24 hours, and with Enterprise Edition we can configure it up to 90 days. So this time travel helps us in restoring our data if we accidentally delete them or unintentionally we delete any data. We can recover that data. With the help of time travel, we can duplicate our data, we can take a backup of our data, and we can perform some analysis over a specific period of time. So in our example, what we'll do is we will delete one table to just show that if in case accidentally if any object is deleted, how do we recover that. Let's first create a worksheet with the name worksheet module 6. In order to recover a table, we will use undrop command, and using time travel behind the scenes, our table will be recovered. As you can see, we have dropped this table and now this table is not existing. So now we will undrop this table and we'll check if this table has been restored. So you can see now this table is restored and data is there. Now what we will do is, using DML, we will perform some updates in the table and we will roll back those changes using time travel. Now we'll update starting station name in the trip info table, and this is like issue we are creating. So now all the starting station names will be changed. So this is a kind of a accidental update which has been performed. Now you can see that records have been updated. Now let's run a query where we will group by starting station name and see a total number of rides performed in those stations. You can see now there is only one station and all the rides belong to that station, and this is an issue now. In order to roll back, we need a query ID of this last update statement which we have run, and we will retrieve this from the information schema using this query, and we'll store that query ID in a variable. So we will use create or replace table to reload this data on this trip info. and we'll use a before command to retrieve all the data before our update command was run, and this will restore our table. Now we will analyze this data to check if our data has been restored or rolled back. Now you can see that our data has been restored and rollback is successful using time travel. RBAC is a role-based access control. In this module, we will create role, we will grant access to database to this role, and we will assign this role to the user, and we'll see how roles can help in providing access to the database. We will create a role junior DBA. Now we will grant this role to our user. Now we will switch to this role junior DBA. Let's perform a database object refresh and see what all databases are available for junior DBA role. You can see that there are only two databases available, Snowflake and Snowflake sample data, as these are the default databases which are available. Now again switch back to account admin role. You can see in account admin we have city, bike and weather databases also. So we'll grant access to these two databases to junior DBA role. Now again switch back to junior DBA role. With this role, let's refresh database objects and see what all databases we have. Now you can see we have access to city, bike and weather database. Now again switch back to account admin role. Revoke city, bike database from junior DBA role. Now again switch back to junior DBA role. And you can see now after refresh only weather database is accessible and city, bike database is not accessible using this role. So this is how using roles we can grant privileges and assign roles to users and manage the users and their access. In this module, I'll show you inbound share and outbound share, and in the outbound share we will share one table with the other client, and at the end we will perform some cleanup. So share with you is a inbound share where you can see that two databases have been shared from Snowflake. So one is the sample data. So in the sample data, you can see there are multiple schemas and multiple tables. So I am just checking what is there in this table. So we have to select a warehouse first, and let's explore this table. This is a sample customer table. You can use this to learn and perform different analytical queries on this table. So shared by your account is outbound share, and you can see what all you have shared with the other client. So I'll be opening another account, and we'll see if there is any inbound share from any another customer. So you can see there is no inbound share from any other customer apart from what Snowflake have shared. So we will share our table, trip table, with the another client. So now we'll click on the share menu and we'll click publish to specified customer, and it will take us to the provider studio. You can see that there are two sections here. So one is to publish to the Snowflake market. Another one is to publish to a specific customers. We will use publish to specified customers only section in order to share. So for that we will click review terms as organization administrator and we'll check I accept, and then we'll save this. So now we are ready to share. So now we have to create a listing in which we can define our share. So in this box also we will click on only specified customers. So first we will give it a title. Let's give it a title trips share and click only specified customers and then next. Populate description. Now select the table which you want to share. Here you have to add customer account with whom you want to share this table. If you do not know how to get this account information, so there is a link which will provide you a reference on how to get this ID. Let's follow this instruction. So we'll go to the customer account and we'll get the account ID which we can use. So this is a specific account with whom we want to share, and we can just copy this account identifier from this copy link and we'll paste it in our box. Here we have to select a warehouse, and once this is published, so data will be replicated to the customer's account. You can also select replication frequency. So default is 1 day. So we'll go with 1 day. So here you can see that the listing is available now. So now when you go to shared by your account, you should be able to see your share. If it is not coming, then refresh this page and you will be able to see share which you have shared. Now let's move to the customer account and see this share. You can see that now it is coming under the shared with you on the customers page. So all you have to do is just click the get to get this share on your account. So before that, let's check our database to see what all databases are available at this point. Now let's get this, and you can see that it's saying that it will take 10 minutes. And in this 10 minutes, it will do all the replication and it will get all the data to your account. So right now you can see the status of replication is coming. So again, click on this get and you will be asked to give your first name and last name and email. So here you have to go to your inbox and verify your email ID. So you can also select an additional role which you want to use with this database, or you can leave this blank at this point. So finally your data is ready, so you can go directly and query this data. Let's rename this tab to Worksheet Module 8. Run a query. And let's filter this query and select only one station. So you can see that the result is coming now and this data is being shared. Now let's move to our main account and perform some updates, and we will check the same on the customer account. Here I am updating Lexington to Lex in the station name. After the replication which we have set for 1 day, we should be able to see the changes next day. Let's rename this to Worksheet Module 8, and tomorrow we will check the customer share. Now it's the next day and let's check. Let's check this table for the updates. And we can see that this table got refreshed with the latest data, the update which we performed yesterday. So this completes our module 8. So now we are done with the lab, and now we will clean the entire system, starting from dropping share, then databases, data warehouse which we created, and the role. So with this we will have a clean system. We will start with cleaning the share. So we'll go to Provider Studio, then we'll go to the listing, and from the listing we will first unpublish it. So after unpublishing we will delete listing. Let's check the customer database if this listing is coming, because we have removed it. It should not be there. So now this share is removed, so you cannot see it here. So let's go back and delete this share. So we'll drop this share. So now we'll come back to the worksheet and we'll start dropping all the objects. We'll drop the database, city bike, and then the next one weather, and then we'll drop the data warehouse, and finally we'll drop role. So now we are done, and I hope you have found this video informative. If you like my work, please like and subscribe, and thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.